Recently, Shane Jones released a short video, and the thumbnail was so comical that I simply had to respond. So here we go.
Shane Jones, New Zealand First, Digger, Hat, Select Committee presentation today, standing up for the natural resources sector, coal, gold and gas. I shared the success of the trip to Singapore recently, attracting investors back to New Zealand, the purpose of the $200 million fund created in the budget, but more importantly, standing up for the Kiwis who need jobs, who need certainty, just as our industry needs affordable energy, and we are going to rely on coal. And we're going to have gas in New Zealand like the Aussies until 2070. Now, the reason I'm holding this, Digger, it should remind you and I, these are foundation, traditional, legacy industries. No more being guilt-tripped in the days of Jacinda Ardern, who, by the way, is currently living in exile at Harvard University. No more of the guilt-tripping. And as I said today to the Labour Party spokeswoman, Honourable Megan Woods, you should apologise at the altar of truth for cancelling the oil and gas industry, banning this economic development, thus leaving New Zealand with stratospherically high energy prices. Those of you continuing with Jacinda's legacy, I'm not going to let you get away with it. You have to apologise. You're accountable.
Look at him. Just look at him. Hilarious that Duncan Garner thinks this buffoon should be our next Prime Minister. He repeatedly demands that Labour apologise. Is he forgetting that it was his party that put them into government? Is he forgetting that he was a minister in the last Labour government? Is he forgetting that they would not have done what they did had he not put them in the position to do it? What a joke. Perhaps Shane Jones should be the one to apologise. I am actually open to the idea that shutting down our oil and gas exploration and industry was a mistake. I do understand that many people want to leave it in the ground for the sake of the environment. But the reality is that we still need it, and we can either use our resources, or we can import even dirtier resources from abroad. And a certain level of self-sufficiency and economic independence is desirable, especially in this increasingly volatile world. It is important that we safeguard our prosperity and security. So I am sympathetic to the crux of the argument that Shane Jones is making. But I find it very, very hard to be sympathetic to Shane Jones. He is very corrupt. Him and his party have received significant big money donations, including in places that have a massive conflict of interest. He is Fisheries Minister and has in the recent past received donations from the fishing industry. Now he shamelessly cuts regulations for them. Companies involved in his fast-track process have donated to New Zealand First. The whole thing is a corrupt joke. And this makes it very hard to take anything he says in good faith. I don't for a second believe that he cares about the national interest. He is far too corrupt for that. And he talks about self-sufficiency and economic independence, all while pushing for foreign companies to come and plunder our natural resources. The whole thing is just a joke. To top it all off, he has the MAGA slogan on his cap. He is trying to import that form of cancerous politics here. I find it pretty gross that he is deliberately attempting to invoke the image of Donald Trump, at a time when Donald Trump is stomping on the most basic constitutional rights of Americans, deporting people for criticizing Israel, sending people to a ruthless dungeon in El Salvador without even giving them a trial. No more free speech, no more right to a trial, no more protection from cruel and unusual punishment. The Constitution is being used as a piece of toilet paper. It is disgraceful. He attacks democracy too, openly seeking an additional term when the Constitution prohibits it, pardoning violent thugs who attacked cops in an attempt at overturning the 2020 election result. Not to mention destabilising the global economy, making a mockery of his country, and backing the belligerent ethno-state known as Israel. And Shane Jones wants to invoke the image of this man. They are both corrupt, self-serving pieces of trash, so we are not surprised.